My name is Ginger. I am a now graduated alumni from 971. I was a captain last year as a senior. Yes.
Do you plan to come back as a mentor someday?
I am right now.
So we're going to go through how student leadership is set up on 971, what student leadership is for us, what do we do as student leaders, and how we got there. And then at the end, we'll end on a discussion with all of us on structures. There are a whole bunch of structures for student leadership, and what works in different situations, and your experiences as well as our experiences. Disclaimer. Yes.
Okay. So a lot of the things that we're going to talk about are what have worked for us on our team and our structure. But every team is different, and they'll have, depending on how many resources you have, and how your team is structured, everything will vary. A lot of what Bahar and I will talk about is things that we have learned personally. I am not a leadership expert. I was captain on 971 for 1 year, and that is, my resume. So take everything with a grain of salt. And we also hope to host this workshop as a discussion. So Bahar and I are going to share what worked for us, and towards the end and second half, we hope to, you guys can share what has worked for you, and we can just sort of all talk about things that we've experienced and stuff like that. Great.
And throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. And we'll definitely call on you whenever there's a pause in the discussion. So first, we're going to go through how we empower our team members to become team leaders. So here are four definitions of leadership, and leadership can be defined in hundreds of ways. And these four are kind of a culmination of what I believe 971 is always working towards. Something we do is that we change our leadership structure every year to improve the team, improve the way our team runs. Our general leadership roles include captain, secretary, president, and all of the technical and non-technical leads. And we're actually going to show you the roles for this year and the descriptions. And you'll see as soon as we're on the document that there's actually different colors from people suggesting what their own position should entail. So, these things aren't set in stone. Every year they change. You can see I made a comment on president. So this is kind of what we have. There's president, captain, secretary, treasurer. Those are like the things we need for the school. Then manufacturing, router, CAM, scouting. As you can see, there's like a variety of technical, non-technical leads. And before every season, we try to have something general like this with roles and people assigned to those roles. So that's on a basic level, that's the official student structure. So a leader on 971 takes responsibility for some aspect of the team, like be it a specific project or something general like new member coordination. This doesn't mean that they necessarily have to do that thing, but they make sure it gets done. So as our student leaders improve and grow their leadership skills, they learn to take initiative on those broader aspects such as new member coordination and actually create things for their position to do, right? You can have a presentation that says, hey, I want all the new members to be included and part of the team, but a student leader actually goes and says, how can I do that? That could be a scavenger hunt or a tool training session or like a potluck with new member families. That's the general role of leadership. And it's kind of unique in the fact that we actually change our leadership structure to work with who we have, like what students are interested in what aspects of leadership. And that's one reason that's really important to keep a steady number of new members coming in. That way you always have experienced members once those new members have gone through the student leadership. One example of this that we're working on right now is that for this upcoming season, we only have 3 seniors on our team. And so we saw that was going to happen. We actually have a whole big influx of freshmen already coming in. So as student leaders working with our mentors, we recognize that deficit and work to improve it.
So for adding on to what Bahar said, this past season we had 3 captains, myself and 2 others, because there were less people that were involved in leadership, and that's the structure that we decided on in the summer before the season. And this year, going into things, people realized that we had a lot of students who had been around for a year or two, and they were knowledgeable, but maybe they weren't in the position, ready to be a captain of the team. So we created a bunch of mid-level things like manufacturing lead, assembly, kitting, purchasing, and a lot of flushed out positions for people that were experienced but maybe had not been there long enough to take on the full responsibility of being captain. So we only have one captain this year, but the hope is with support from lots of sub leaders, it'll be as efficient, hopefully more efficient.
Yeah, so these are all the positions we have for this upcoming year. And a lot of these didn't exist before, right? We didn't have a receiving lead, only a purchasing lead. We didn't have a graphics design lead, camming coordination lead.
Yeah, and so manufacturing, we used to just have manufacturing, but now you can see we have router and late scheduling, and we also have, there's CAM, I believe, somewhere too. CAM, which is computer-aided machining, which is all part of the manufacturing process, so we've split that into multiple people. So communication. So the team is working as a whole to complete your tasks. At the end of the day, the team has the goal and everybody's working together to complete that. So it's crucial that we really believe that people are openly communicating and asking for assistance when they need it. Worst case scenario, it is better to have someone else need to finish what you were unable to complete than to have it be incomplete by the deadline. And in the best case scenario, you are able to let people know you need help and they can help you. And this is actually something we really believe in, is it's really important to have transparency and to put the team before, I guess perhaps, if it's an insecurity or if you have a lot of homework and you can't finish things, really be transparent about that. And people will appreciate, your ability to communicate that, and it'll help you learn too, because that's how you can, get more resources if you need help with that. Let's see. So it's best to standardize communication so it's easier to reach everyone. So if your team is all on one communication device, that's easier. So for instance, we are trying to move towards Slack. This is something that we've been working towards slowly, but lots of people still prefer Google Chat, or they have text messages, or they prefer email. And so I guess my little tidbit on that would be, while you want to move towards perhaps a program like Slack, I think it's also important to get to know your team and understand who is reachable by what method. So for instance, this year, there were some people that I knew I could reach by phone number and some people that I knew I could reach by GChat and what was most convenient for them. So it's, I guess, sort of a balance in that manner.
And then a little bit about Slack. If you don't know what Slack is or how it works, it's basically a system where you can create channels and anyone can join. In our team, anyone can join any channel, and each channel is specific to one aspect of the team. So we have one general channel which has everyone in the team, all the mentors, a lot of parents. Then we have channels for planning the meetings or a leadership channel, and it's good because that aids to their transparency, right? Anyone can look at anything, but maybe only certain people actually contribute to that channel. In particular, we're trying to use two channels. One's called Robot Status and one's called Meeting Planning. And that's trying to get a message across of what our goals are for each meeting, how the robot is doing in the progression. And our idea is that if people have that information and we're ready for each meeting, then new members will feel more welcome to come. They'll know what is available to do. The meetings will be more organized.
Right, because feedback we've gotten from new members is they don't know why they should come to meetings because they don't know what's going on or what they would do, or maybe they come to one meeting where there wasn't a lot going on, but maybe you have one meeting where you would appreciate more hands, and that sort of transparency really helps get more people involved.
So the main platform for our leadership group, our students that come in, student lead our team, is the weekly leadership meeting. All team members are invited to come to each of these meetings to give comments, make updates, ask for help on a project, offer to help lead a project. There's a lot going on in leadership meetings. The agenda is always sent out the Monday before the leadership meeting, and anyone can add to the agenda. And we're actually going to take a look at the agenda from the previous leadership meeting.
So, the idea of leadership meetings is we are not working on robots, we're not writing code, we're not doing anything, and it's a time to sort of take a step back and figure out how are things going? Do you need more resources? Do you need, are you ahead of schedule? Can you do more? And it's to sort of let people know, hey, we need to organize carpools. Can someone sign up for that? And leadership meetings are open to every single member on the team, so anyone can come help with that, and that's sort of how we hope people can slowly get more involved in leadership parts of the team. Curious if
I think in the off season you meet less frequently.
Yes,
Is that right?
yes. In the off season we meet every other Thursday. So that's what they've been doing now. But during the season it was every Thursday from January to pretty much around April.
Yeah, and you kind of need that check-in every week, not to just figure out where your robot's going, but how your team is progressing.
Just real quick.
Yeah, so the basic setup is that we have the action items that we decided on the last meeting. That's what was going to happen, who was going to do it, by when, and then comments. After that, we have
I think you're going too
updates.
fast.
Yeah. So
So these
these
are
are action items.
action items.
And you can see if they're done or not. This might have been copied over wrong, but usually people will write in before the next meeting whether or not they did it, and then you can go down to here. Oh, this is the current one. This is from 2 days ago. And then,
I don't see any notes.
yeah, that's because I got the latest wrong. So basically, we go over new agenda items. This is where you put something like if you need help with a project, you put it under new agenda items. And then if you want to make an update on something you're already working on, that would go in updates. And then from that, as you're going through everything, and it's really important to have those subtitles because you might not be thinking about scouting, but then you realize that, oh, we need to start prepping for it then, and then that conversation will start during the meeting. And from that results, you go down, you fill out the other chart of action items. So this gets copied over to the next meeting, and you'll have, once again, the tasks, with possible date, the comments. And at the beginning of every meeting, we actually go through all the previous ones, and then at the end of the meeting, go through all of the action items. again.
So normally this part here will be filled out with a bunch of notes and things that we've talked about. But
This is like next Thursday's thing.
Great, okay, so this is how we encourage new members to become involved in the team and how we also encourage members on the team to sort of step up as student leaders. So I really believe in investing time before the season with new members. Obviously, you can't do everything, so the more time you can spend training people before the season, the easier it is to have people involved during the season. So while new member training might be something that, takes a lot of effort in the off season, I highly encourage you guys to spend time doing that. The other thing is understanding your fellow team members, knowing the limits and gamut of your team. So, knowing which students maybe work well under stress and who needs more guidance. So, I guess here. So, some students are really good about, they enjoy taking things on and doing them for themselves. And there are many students that are also, want to participate, but maybe they haven't done leadership before, they haven't been responsible for large tasks. And I guess there's some people can do things by themselves and some people may not be able to. And the difference is that these people can still contribute and learn how to contribute if you help them and guide them. So even if someone may not have led anything before, I think it's really important to give them opportunities to do things. But understanding your team members in that you should be there to guide them and provide them resources and remind them of deadlines. So an example of this is maybe someone signs up to do something, like organize carpools. That's an example we use a lot. And they may have, maybe they signed up to do something a month ago and they weren't able to complete it on time because they had a lot of homework or something happened, and that's okay. The idea is we want to continue encouraging students like this to sign up for things, but I would just make sure as a leader, because ultimately you're responsible for tasks being completed, checking in with them, right? And so it doesn't take you that much time to sort of ping them throughout the week and go, hey, what's up, how's it going, or what's your status? And I think that's really important. I guess understanding sort of what skills your teammates have, and another thing is some people will be better at different things and some people will be worse at things. So you want to sort of guide people towards what their skill set is better for, I guess, if that makes sense. And then also how your mentors can contribute most effectively. So know how much your mentors want to be involved and utilize them. Sometimes new mentors may come to the team and they may not know how to get involved and jump in. So it's not just new members, it's also like mentor retention and making sure mentors feel like they are contributing and part of the team. This was a huge help for us this year with getting new members involved. We had a bunch of mentors who maybe were able to sacrifice ridiculous amounts of time, coming in hours and hours and hours, but they were still able to work closely with new members for a few hours every weekend. And we've actually seen, especially during kickoff weekend and prototyping weekend when there's a lot of stuff going on, I think we had like a really good ratio of like maybe 5 students per mentor, and so those really closely working with each other, and we've seen a direct increase in student participation because of this. So like while those mentors may not be here all the time, if you check in with them and be like, hey, are you going to be around this weekend for a few hours, and knowing when they're going to be there and knowing you can lead new students towards them, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and one of the things that happened this year, I think, is that new members worked with the mentor, and then the next week they worked with them again, and then the next week, even if the mentor wasn't there, they had an idea of a project and they did it themselves, right? The theory is that even if the student has never been part of what they agreed to lead or work on, the other parts of leadership and the mentors will help them figure out what to do and give them the support they need. That way, the next time, that student could actually be supporting another student.
Right. So, expectations. So, shoot for the moon and you'll land among the stars, even though the moon is closer to the stars. But I just like the expression, I like space. And this is the idea of setting expectations for yourself and for team members. So even if you, I guess, for me, even if you don't hit all the deadlines you set for yourself, you'll still likely come ahead compared to if you hadn't pushed yourself to try new things. And also understanding that yourself and people won't always be able to meet expectations. So preparing for that, like not setting deadlines to be last minute, and then also working hard to recognize when people have worked hard for something, right? Maybe it is someone's first time organizing carpools, and they didn't finish it all, but they worked really hard, they filled out the form, and you set the deadline for a week before the event, so there is still wiggle room in terms of getting them more resources, but recognizing that they've still come a long way, how they can grow next time and do better next time, if that makes sense. Yes, the famous carpool example. So I guess this would be, asking a student to organize carpools, letting them know you want it done a week before the event, so if they finish it half a week before the event, it's, they've still done something they've never done before, right? And then they'll have to do it better next time. And so I believe in that. And so another example is spares and travel sets. This one involves Bahar. So this year during the season, we, before the San Francisco Regional, we needed someone to organize all those spares and travel sets. And so we have maybe a couple hundred custom parts on our robots along with a bunch of COTS components. And so making sure we have everything we need at competition is quite a large job to take care of. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really a lot to work through. And so at a leadership meeting, this was brought up and someone mentioned, hey, we need someone to work on the spares and travel sets. And Bahar was like, hey, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that is, but I would like to help and volunteer to lead that. And so if you want to talk about your experience.
It actually was a little less formal than that even. I was actually working with a mentor and another student on assembling, I think it was a shooter of a robot, and then someone brought up like spares, and so me and that student worked on getting the spares ready for just that part of the robot. And then, like you just said at the leadership meeting, people said, hey, come do spares, and I was like, oh, I've already started working on that, why not take it on? And sometimes when you agree to do something, you don't realize it's 15 bins worth of stuff, but it was good, it was fun. I had like a lot of support from mentors and students, and something really stressed on the team that I think helps everyone on our team grow when they take on a project is that it's okay to ask questions and it's okay to not understand what's happening as long as you work to understand that. Even as a student leader, when you're supposed to be in charge of a project and you might delegate parts of it, you always need to be asking questions to your delegates, and hopefully they have questions for you, right? Hopefully they don't know what's happening, so they ask questions and further their understanding of it.
Yeah.
That's just an example of
Leading by example, this is relatively straightforward, but culture comes from student leaders, and so they look up to older and more experienced members, and so you guys are in this talk, so assuming you're all some form of student leaders or are aspiring to be student leaders, it is really important to demonstrate sort of that professional behavior from yourself, and people really learn from that. Practice what they preach, when they go low, we go high. Like, as an example, maybe a new member isn't sure what's up and they're acting out or they're not behaving. That's when you take the opportunity to speak maturely with them, or if maybe a new member is acting in a way that's disrespectful, instead of being upset and maybe like isolating that person, or maybe saying like, I don't want to work with that person anymore. If you can sort of be the leader and talk to them maturely and figure that out, you yourself will grow as a leader, and it just inspires a better team culture. And another thing is act like a professional, and as if because FRC is supposed to be working alongside professional mentors and getting real world experience, and so working on a team, you want to pretend you're a professional. And anything that you wouldn't do or say with your boss in the room, you probably shouldn't be saying in a team environment. So this is more of like a logistical keeping track of everything. So in a perfect world, project managers are deeply involved with building the robot, because then not only do they have to care about their tasks, they have to worry about other people's tasks. But just to be realistic, students that are rise up to be student leaders are often also highly involved in the robot build. So this creates a harder job for the student because they must spend lots of time working on their own projects while also keeping up with tasks that other students are working on. And I guess this is more of what worked for me this past season. I really found that taking the time off to regroup and think through everything is really helpful. So part of this was at leadership meetings. So for those of you who don't know, 971's weekly schedule during build season is mostly on the weekends. So we have Wednesday night meetings for 2 hours, and Thursday night we have leadership meetings, but the majority of our hours are Friday after school until late, and then Saturday and Sunday noon until late. And so we actually don't meet on Mondays and Tuesdays. So I guess we think in terms of weekends, like first weekend, second weekend, third weekend, what needs to get done, and those are sort of where we set our deadlines.
Sunday till 5.
Until 5.
On
Yes.
Sunday, right. We don't go late on Sunday.
Right.
Homework.
Yeah. So what I found really helpful is if you think of it in terms of the weekend schedule, so leadership meetings were on Thursdays, so on Wednesday or Thursday, I found it really helpful to write robot status summaries, and so this was something that I guess had two purposes, is it allowed me to sort of regroup and figure out what was going on, and if I wasn't sure what was going on with a certain part, I could go ask those people and check in with them, which is what we talked about, checking in with people as a student leader. And then it also, I guess, provided transparency to the rest of the team so they could know what was going on at leadership meetings. It was summary, and if I needed people to sign up for stuff, the leadership meeting was also sort of where I would go and be like, hey, we need someone to step up and help work on the drivetrain or help work on this. And then captain's meetings, something that also happened this year, were on Fridays. As soon as our lead mechanical mentor came in from work, we would meet and figure out what the plan was for the weekend ahead, because we were full steam ahead on the weekends, I guess.
Unintended?
Unintended. Let's see. Right. So this was also an opportunity to sit down with the mechanical mentor and just figure things out, while you're not like in the middle of the lab working on things and running back and forth. And keeping track of everything doesn't mean doing everything yourself. A lot of people feel like when there's a lot of tasks, I guess there's something common that like I myself am victim to is when you feel really busy and overworked, they just dive deeper into their work, right? Okay, let me do more work, and then they just work, and you sort of lose track of the big picture of what's going on, right? And maybe you can, that's why I really enjoy taking a step back and writing things down, or whatever works for you, figuring out what's going on, because then you can say, hey, maybe I can delegate this to so-and-so, and that to so-and-so. And that's where, I guess, understanding your team is really important, because some people will be better at other things than better at others. So like here's Sabina organizes drive practice, right? So it wouldn't make sense for me as a student leader to go, okay, we need to organize drive practice, Bahar, can you do that, right? Because Sabina's the one that has been doing it for years. So I guess that's sort of also what I mean by like knowing your team. And captains,
Yeah, so this year, as a result of our captain's meeting from last year, that was super productive, but oftentimes the takeaway from that would be for the captains and the lead mechanical mentor. This year, we're actually planning on opening that meeting to the whole team. That doesn't mean that all 60 members are gonna show up and be at the captain's meeting, but it does mean that we're trying to continue that transparency. Also, because we're trying to develop that middle level of leadership, like Ginger said, right? Instead of just having, the captains or the high level up leads that know everything that's going on, and then people that are working but maybe aren't like in charge of something. We're developing that like middle section. It's a good time to group all of those people and still accomplish what Ginger mentioned, but more transparently and with more people involved, so that you don't just dive into what you're doing. Okay. So that's kind of our 2 cents on, what we as leaders have learned and what 971 does. Now we're thinking of having a discussion with all of you, going through structurally what works, right? There are a lot of styles to leadership, to student leadership. You can have more than one captain, you can have 100% student-led with mentor involvement in the leadership decisions. You can have elected leaders, etc. Okay, I'll back that now. So what our team does that we didn't really talk about is, while those positions change for who's going to be in a specific position every year, it's actually generally our mentors that help develop that, because they kind of have the big picture for where the team is, because they've been here for years and they're planning on continuing mentoring for years, which we're really fortunate to have. So that's what we found works best for our teams, is mentors working with students who they see wanting to be involved in leadership and helping them get to that goal and developing their position. For other teams, it works a lot differently.
So does your team lead and mentors pick who's going to fill those leadership roles, or just the structure?
It's interesting how that works. I mean, I wouldn't say it's something where the mentors are all sitting in a room in a corner and deciding the fates of students, right? I would say it's more like a back and forth process where students can indicate what they're interested in and how they. So, for instance, this year, listening to feedback from what students said, or if students have their own idea for something they see on the team that they feel like they can help lead, right?
Yeah.
So maybe someone's like, this is a silly example. Maybe someone's like, wow, we really need more snacks. I believe in snacks. Can I be snacks coordination? And then a mentor would be like, hey, maybe that's a good idea, or maybe that's a little silly. Maybe you could help organize team dinners and actually do the snacks, right? So we sort of have this back and forth process, but mentors are ultimately guiding that process. But in no way is this a story.
Yeah. And this year, the way we did that, right, it's important to have, as we keep saying, transparent, open ways of thinking through these things. So we actually had a leadership interest form go out where the mentors did create it, but all the students could give their input and say, hey, I'm interested in leading this part of the team, or I can improve on this. And then from that, the mentors took what they saw and brought it back to the student. So it's that constant feedback and giving back to the team. And then, that list was sent to the whole team, or the whole leadership part of the team. And then people get feedback on those roles. So it's constantly in development.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, how do you find the right balance between mentor-led and student-led, the sweet spot in the middle? Because if you have, our team, the students kind of try to do everything, and I think that we could use a little bit more mentor guidance.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's definitely the other side of the spectrum where the mentors are doing all the work, and that's probably not good. So how do you find the balance in the middle? And do you have any suggestions for that?
So ultimately, our goal is to inspire and allow students to learn as much as possible. And so we believe that the way that happens is if there's a half-half balance, and that you have mentors that are working alongside students. So we aim for mentors not working on anything by themselves, students not working on anything by themselves. And so the balance there is always different. But we always aim to have both mentors and students working on something, and that way students can always learn from mentors. because mentors have done, we have mentors that have, been doing FRC, been involved in FIRST since like 1999 or something crazy. And so they really have a lot of, valuable knowledge to share. And I don't think I would have learned as much if we didn't have mentors helping with projects and stuff like that.
Like, where do you find,
Yeah.
where do you find like mentors who are willing to like be committed to the team? So like, where do you go looking for that? Do you just ask people like friends of them?
Yeah, actually. A lot of our mentors are alumni that then reach out to people that work with, them at their work. So we have, say, one of our code mentors is Austin, who was on the team as a student, and then he went to college, he came back, he works at a company called Peloton, and he reached out to people that, are on Peloton with him, and he invited them. And we also, are any of you guys going to Win and Finbar's talk about team sustainability? So they'll be talking a little bit about this too. But like we have things like alumni mentor potlucks. We work really hard to treat our mentors well and show that we appreciate them. And also about I think we talked earlier about like getting mentors involved too, because some mentors may come and they may not know how they can be involved, and they may be like, oh, I feel like I'm not doing much here. Like maybe I can spend my time somewhere else a little better. So I guess as students, if you want to build your mentor base.
What kind of programs do you have to train new members during jobs? Building a robot, or what is that?
Yeah, sure. So we actually do have, we call it our third robot project during the off season. Before we even start there, at the very end of the school year, we reach out to all the middle schools. We send them flyers. We know their engineering teachers by now. We keep talking to them and saying like, hey, can we get your students that are coming to Mountain View to like check out the robotics team? We host an open house where all members of the community are welcome to come check out our lab, ask questions. They can join the E-list. New members can, potential new members can like learn what meetings are and show up to a meeting. And then the third robot project that's for, you want to talk about it?
Yeah. I was distracted by the computer. You talking
Okay.
about third robot?
No, I talked about open house.
So third robot, so during the season we build a competition robot, practice robot, you guys are all familiar with that, right? And so during the summer we build a third robot, hence the name third robot, where essentially it's entirely student-led. Mentors are not involved except for design review and that kind of stuff. And it's much slower paced because we have all of 2 months of summer to work on CAD, and then when school starts, that's sort of when we move into manufacturing and that kind of stuff. And we take it to off-season events with us. So like we take it to Madtown Throwdown, if you guys know that, or we might,
Yeah. And so during the season, you're asking about like that mentor to student involvement, right? We like our mentors, and they like to build robots. So when we let them work with us in designing the robot, it like raises everyone's standards because the mentors are teaching the students while the students are like learning and working with them, and then they kind of bring those skills to the third robot and find them there.
Yeah, another thing is if mentors are working alongside students during the season, they too will feel ownership over the project and over, what the students have accomplished and that kind of stuff. They feel like they have, if that makes sense, like what's the word?
They're not babysitting.
Right, they're like, they've invested in the project and they're part of the engineering experience too, right? Like everyone is part of FRC because, in some way they enjoy engineering, whether it be, like the business aspect of marketing and that kind of, some sort of engineering company, or just like you like STEM, right? And so mentors are typically the same way, so that's why we really believe in working alongside.
And so part of the third robot is also giving them the tools they need to succeed during the season. So new members get tool trained. We have a couple of different levels of tool training, basic tools and then the more complex, more dangerous tools. They go through a safety test that has a presentation online with that. And then in anticipation of the third robot, we also teach people about things such as electrical, like the main components of a robot. And that kind of changes year to year based on who's doing the new member coordination. They might have like workshops set up during one of our weekly meetings for new members. We had a rotation of workshops this year where some of our more experienced members kind of showed the new members what they worked on during the season. Some of our new members even get trained on tools such as the lathe or the router. Just training on those things. Yeah.
Do you separate design and fabrication?
In terms of leadership, like roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So typically what we have is sort of like a tree, if that makes sense. So you have one person that always has big picture in mind, so they can coordinate between the two. But we definitely, I think we have a CAD lead, we have a computer aided machine, so he can program like our CNC machines, and then we also have someone who's doing like lathe and router scheduling, and then we also have someone who's doing kitting, and then we also have someone who's doing purchasing for cost parts. But the thing about that is you typically have one person who's making sure they're all coordinating with each other, if that makes sense. Because you can't start fabricating stuff until the design is done. And oftentimes they overlap by a lot. Like maybe your drivetrain is done, but you're still working on other parts of the robot. So fabrication might start before design is done, which is why it's important to have one person who has the big picture. But having individual people responsible for those is also
Like this year we have an overall manufacturing lead, then we have those positions underneath. So, going back to the tree method, you have one person that branches off to another that has 3 or 4 branches.
Yeah.
And then so they all coordinate with manufacturing, and manufacturing would coordinate with the captain or whoever has the big picture for that year.
Right, but I think it also depends on what students you have on your team that year, right? If you only have 3 students, it might not make sense to have one be, lathe scheduling and the other one be purchasing because, there's all these other parts of the robot you have to do. But when you have a lot of members and, middle level management, as we were talking about, getting them into positions where they can be responsible for a part of the build is really awesome, and that's what we're working towards.
I remember Ginger designing the gear that makes our shooter rotate and all that stuff. And she also ran manufacturing with the lathe. So students will do both parts, but we do separate it structurally. The same student may do both parts.
That's another really important part of our team is that we let the new members experience everything. I mean, Jim Bill's a new member, but new members will oftentimes get their hands in on some prototyping, some manufacturing, and maybe some organizing. And then the next year when they have more experience, they kind of know what things they would want to lead. And that doesn't mean they're tiny to that, it just means that they're going to make sure it's done.
Also a follow-up, well, not really a follow-up. For CAD students and in the design process, obviously that's something that you sort of need experience for and stuff. What does the training process look like for that? Do you have them start on maybe fabrication or first, and then how many years does it take to get into a spot where you can design that year or whatever?
Okay, so the question was about the training process for CAD. So
We had freshmen that designed things on the competition robot this year, right?
On the oxygen robot.
So
Xenia?
So the CAD training is like integrated within
yeah,
the robot?
So during the summer, at least, this is what we do. If someone comes in and they hear about CAD and they're like, "Oh my God, I want to learn this. This is so cool. This is like 3D Photoshop. This is amazing." Then they can start. They can right then and there. They can do the tutorial. One of our experienced members can make up a part and they can design it, and then they can look at the third robot and say, "Hey, that needs adjusted. I can make that." If someone's less interested in CAD, they're like, "Oh, this is cool, but where's the robot?" You can have them go through that fabrication, manufacturing, or assembly first. And once they understand that, in order to actually make this part, someone had to go and design it first. How is that done? That's when you kind of pull them into CAD.
Yeah, I think what I found works the best for me and, for new members we've seen, and which is often, impossible to attain, is that one-on-one instruction with people and working with them is incredibly useful. So, even if you just spend maybe an hour going through things with an experienced member and them just sort of walking you through stuff, because a lot of CAD, I use SolidWorks, I guess, it's sort of nuanced, you can go through the tutorial and stuff and that makes sense, but maybe there's a shortcut that works really well. Or maybe they're oh, you can, move around with the middle button. Oh my God, I didn't know that, right? And so there's right, so there's lots of little things where if you're working one-on-one with people that can, And another thing is if you spend that 1 hour and go through something with a new member, maybe, so what we like to do is we just like sketch random parts on paper and we're like, we have this, right? And then the idea is if you spend that, like maybe it's an hour on a weekend during the summer during Third Robot, and you give them sort of those basic skills so they know that you can move around with the scroll button and they know, what a sketch is and what a part is. You're, sort of providing them with the base to, I guess, learn more, if that makes sense. So I guess that's something that
Now that's SolidWorks itself,
Mhm.
but like when it comes time to understand, well, how do I design parts for the robot? I mean, how do you get them familiar with like how FRC just works in general? And,
So yeah, that's like one
and
of
like
the things.
smart design.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I want to design as
Oh.
simply as possible.
Travis.
I don't want to have to like use a
Yeah,
mill.
I
I
actually
can just
have
use
like
a piece of tubing.
Yeah, so a lot of that is having, like, a lot of that comes with time and experience, and a lot of it is also looking at a lot of robots. And so sometimes Travis will, give a suggestion for a design, and I'm like, what? Did you come up with that? He's like, oh no, like I saw it on someone's robot last year, and it's really cool, right? And so something that you can do to sort of educate yourself in that way is I really enjoy going around and looking at other teams' robots during competition, because maybe they have some sort of clever actuation or they do things a different way. And I think maybe that's what you were talking about. Because some designs I'm like, what? But then like once you see it, so like for instance, we have chain tensioners on our work. You guys are coming to Adam and I's talk later tonight, afternoon. We're going to be talking about like all these different mechanical components and code components that are, so we have like these chain tensioners essentially. And when I first saw them, I was like, oh my god, that's such a crazy design. Like that's so cool. And then I actually was able to implement one myself on one of these parts of the robot because I had seen it before. And I guess you sort of just like, the more you see, the more you learn. And then also you sort of get to a point where you can start putting them together, if that makes sense. So like maybe you saw something here, you saw something there, and you can put it together. But I guess it's about educating yourself.
I have a comment on that, and then you.
Yeah, you were asking, I think, how quickly people move into manufacturing in different areas like that. Some people move very quickly. Ksenia, I've mentioned her name, apparently she didn't do much design, but she did a lot on the router. Our CNC router is a very, it's a delicate, powerful tool that has to be used very carefully or it can be destroyed. And as a freshman, she came in and she worked a lot with Ginger, who was running the tool. And she, as a sophomore, is going to be doing what Ginger did as a senior. So that's how quickly she moved through it. And she's been making parts on her own for months now. I mean, she is authorized to walk in there as long as there is a mentor there, turn that machine on, bring it up, and make parts. And she's in charge as a freshman. She was still a freshman when she was doing that. So it can happen very quickly.
Depends how dedicated you are.
Yes, and that's the empowerment though too. It goes beyond that. There's a structure on this team that encourages that, supports it, and makes it possible.
Yeah, we'll go on to.
Talk about individual sub-teams. My question is about like how porous these different groups are. Are there people who do CAD and they also do machining?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
how much
Yeah,
overlap is
absolutely.
there?
Yeah, essentially the people that lead sub-teams are just the ones that are supposed to be thinking about it and making sure things are happening, right? Like I might help with manufacturing, but maybe my head is in design and I'm thinking, all right, what do we need to design? But I'm still, out here maybe manufacturing parts or something like that. So it's not, it's totally fluid. And the other thing is people that are gonna be, contributing a lot, are gonna be the ones inherently that understand all parts of the process and are able to contribute.
I heard you guys talking about training during the summer, so do you do that with rising freshmen? And if so, how do you get them interested in like, how do you reach out to them and let them know about this robotics program?
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit, but we do presentations at the local middle schools. There's like, I think we do presentations at 2 of the local middle schools that feed into Mount View High. And we go into their engineering classes and actually show them, sometimes we bring the robot, sometimes we just have like pictures of the CAD and we kind of show them the game video, we show them like how cool this is, we show them what a competition looks like. We also do a lot of outreach events. Our city, Mountain View, has a tech showcase that we actually just recently went to, and we're lucky enough to have been invited to that because our community knows about the robotics team. And so what we do there is we run the robot and we show people, we have poster boards up of like what FRC is, And any like, if we see someone's at middle school, we'll be like, hey, are you coming to Mountain View? You should check out the robotics team. It's a lot of word of mouth.
Also, you might have like younger siblings that go to the middle schools that feed into your high school, and you can ask them to maybe tell your friends, spread the word.
Yeah. Our open house, we advertised it through, I think we had flyers, it was word of mouth, it was on Facebook, it was on Twitter. Just inviting people, even if
Reach
they're
out to the middle school engineering teachers, because you probably went to a middle school that fed into your high school, or at least maybe members of your team have, right? And they know who maybe the math science teachers are. And you never know.
And even if you can't get there, you can still invite members of the community, and then when they see how cool of an opportunity this is, they'll tell their friends.
How do you guys solve the problem of like overpopulation? For instance, right now, with one of the teams we're trying to start, there are 130 kids interested, and like I know there will be like a huge drop in like the amount of kids that want to stay, but even if it's like 40% that stay or something, I'm still dealing with like 50 kids, which is like way too much for first
We're
years.
actually sort of reaching that point ourselves, and the way I guess we've been, because we've been able to, attract so many students, and we make that transparent we have a really great relationship with the school and with the community, and we let them know that we have a bunch of students that are interested in our program and enjoy our program, and as we've experienced, community leaders are really into, they can sort of help you move towards getting more resources and having more room and that kind of stuff and expanding your program. But making sure that like the people you have now are like really, getting a good experience, and like that's how you get like overpopulation. I don't know.
Yeah, and if you're talking about like resources versus like there's not enough stuff for people to do, that's when you have to start thinking, just like getting those experienced members and maybe trying to pull in more mentors, even though you're gonna end up having more people, you're gonna have a better like better ratio, and that way you can pull up the whole like standard of your team while still, even if you have like 40 new members.
So another thing is there's the struggle between, do I take the time to explain this to a new member, or do I just finish this task because it needs to get done, right? I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but like I personally have I struggle with that a lot, where someone wants to get involved and I would love for them to get involved, but like the deadline isn't an hour and I need to get this done, right? And so on Wednesday night meetings, when we meet for 2 hours from 7:15 to 9:15 p.m., actually we as a leadership team try to not think of that as time to get stuff done on the robot. We dedicate that to new members. And so even if you're being less productive, we set that time aside to work with people that are new throughout the season. We try our best to. And the idea is when you get them involved with what you're doing and get them up to speed on a Wednesday, you can be like, hey, are you coming on Saturday, or are you coming on Friday? I could use your help with this more, that kind of stuff, if that makes sense.
And then they can actually like work with you.
Yeah, so maybe setting aside some time every week to pull me out.
One more comment for folks that are trying to sort out, 971 has lots of mentors, you guys know that, right? And how that works with students. We have a videos page on our website, and one of the computer magazines went to the championship and they videoed Ginger talking about the robot. And they made this incredible video from resources we gave them and stuff they did. And I encourage you to watch that video and look at that student, she's standing right there, and hear what she talks about her knowledge of the robot. And think about if she could have gotten there without working with mentors. And then I think that'll help you see what engaging mentors in your teams will do. Some of you already know, but those that are still figuring it out, watch that and think about, could she have ever learned that much without mentors?
That's
Time.
yeah.
That's it. So thank you for coming. During breaks, we'd love to answer any of your questions.
We are 971.